Welcome back to Train Signal. You are watching the video for Lab 4, Managing Application Lifecycle in benandbrady.com domain. In this video, we will go through the life cycle of an application. You will learn how to upgrade from Microsoft Office 2000 to Office XP, and then you will also learn how to uninstall the application. So let's talk about what is an application life cycle. Just like in biology, life cycle is the different phases through which the application goes through over the course of time. So to begin with, you start by using a new application, so you install the new application. And then when a newer version of that application comes out and when the company purchases it, you would like to upgrade the existing application with the new one. And then last but not the least, when you do not want to use that application anymore, you should be able to uninstall it. The difference over here is that we're going to manage the entire software lifecycle using group policy objects. That's right. You do not have to go to each computer to upgrade or to uninstall the application. We will use the same concept that we have learned and then apply it to actually upgrading and then uninstalling the application. And again, as usual, you will see all the actions performed live in front of you. So let's get started with that. To deploy an application or to actually upgrade requires the following steps, and you already are familiar with the steps. We need to deploy an application, you need to create a software deployment point. So let's go through it step by step. So what I've done is the following so far. In our network, benandbrady.com, the company has decided to actually upgrade from Office 2000 to Office XP. So what I've done is created the following software deployment point. On the C drive, I've created a folder called Office XP and I've shared it, and in there are the files from the CD-ROM for Office XP. Now if you recall, in order to assign an application, you need the MSI file. For Office 2000, the MSI file was data1.msi. For Office XP, the MSI file that we will use is called proplus.msi. So that's the name of the file. If you're installing it manually, you double click on setup.exe. So my deployment point is done. And just a reminder, you must share this folder simply because this folder should be accessible from the client's computer. So you're accessing this SDP as a share, not as a local drive. It is for that reason it must also be shared. So that's the first step. The second step is to create the OU and the OU structure and the users, and we've already done that by creating North Carolina and California OUs and then creating user objects within the sub OUs over there. The third thing now is to actually go ahead and deploy Office XP. So in this case, this is from the previous screen. I have said over here deploy Microsoft Office 2000. The point I'm trying to make over here is that the steps that you follow are exactly the same. This time, instead of deploying 2000, we will deploy Office XP, and then we will tell Office XP that actually this is not a new installation. You're going to upgrade an existing group policy object that exists in our domain. So that's going to be the major difference. Other than that, everything else remains the same. And then finally, we will log in as JSmith and see if the upgrade process takes place successfully. So we're going to follow the same procedures over here. The only difference will be after we create the group policy object for Office XP, we will tell that group policy to actually perform an upgrade, not just put the application there for new users. So let's get started with that. Going back on DC1, I'm connected to DC1 at this point, and I'd showed you the software deployment point. Now we are ready to create our group policy object. So like before, we will use Active Directory users and computers on DC1 and create a new group policy object. Now once again, I'm going to apply this group policy to a user that I would like to test against, namely Jill Smith, and she is in the accounting department in the California OU. So what I would like to do is I would like to create a new group policy object and link it to the California OU. So I'm going to right click over here and then go to the properties of this particular OU, select group policy, and now remember we already had this policy from before, so we're going to create a new policy over here, and we're going to call this one Office XP policy. Okay, so that's the second policy. Now we need to tell this policy what to do. So we're going to click on the edit button. Again, we're going to use the method assign to users. So I need to go under user configuration, expand software settings, and then in over here I need to click on software installation and start the new package. So right click, new package. Now like before, do not navigate from the C drive. That is a mistake. What you need to do is navigate through the UNC name. Now I'm going to show you a different technique over here. You can of course navigate right from here by going to DC1 and then going to Office XP and so forth. Okay, I'm going to cancel out. Just to show you a different method over here, I'm going to right click on software installation, new package, and over here I'm going to start typing the UNC name of our computer. So the UNC name is 2 slashes, and I'm going to type DC1, put a slash, and look what happens. It automatically shows all the shares that are available for this particular package. So I'm going to go to the one that I'm interested in now, which is Office XP, put a slash, and it's going to show me the files that I need for Office XP. And if I know that my file is called Pro Plus, I'll just put a P out there and I can pick it up right from here. So again, just to show you different methods, some of you like to use commands, and this is a quick way of actually accessing a particular folder, or you can navigate from here or either from here on the sidebar called My Network Places. So I'm going to pick up this package and then click on open, and once again it's asking me for the method that I would like to use. We are of course going to use the assign method, so click on that and then click on OK. So this time the application will be assigned also. In fact, this will be Office XP. As soon as this finishes, then we have to instruct this particular deployment that, you know what, you're not just installing it, you're going to perform an upgrade to an existing application. And the way you do that is the following. Once again, up to this point, you have done exactly the same steps that you did for Office 2000. Now you're going to select this package. Just expand this so you can see it. Select this package, right click, and then go to the properties of that package. Okay, a number of tabs will show up over here in the dialog box. You need to go to the tab called Upgrades, self-explanatory actually over here. And then over here, you need to add the package that will upgrade, that this package will upgrade. This is a little misnomer in words over here. So in other words, we are in the package for Office XP. You need to tell this particular GPO which application or which package Office XP is going to upgrade. So I'm going to click on the add button over here, and then I would like to find my GPO. So I'm going to say find a GPO for me. So I'm going to say specific GPO and then click on browse. I know for a fact that if I were to go to all button over here, I'll be able to see all my policies. So I'm going to select the all button. Okay, let me do this again one more time. So I'm on the upgrade tab over here, click on the add button. I'm going to say look for it in a specific GPO, click on the browse button, go to all because I know all my GPOs are listed over here, and the one that I'm going to upgrade is the Office 2000 policy. So the Office 2000 policy says install Office 2000, which is great. Now what I'm saying is that if you have Office 2000, you should be upgrading to Office XP. So you're going to click on the OK button over here. And now, so far you've informed it to actually perform an upgrade for Office 2000. Now here are the two other options. The first option is install the existing package, then install the upgrade package. You have a choice over here of actually uninstalling the current Office 2000 application before installing the Office XP application, or you can say package can upgrade over the existing package. So I'm going to select the second one over here, package can upgrade over the existing package, because we know that these two are by the same vendors and they're compatible with each other. I'm going to click on the OK button, and then there's one more thing that is required before you leave this box. You must click on this checkbox, required upgrade for existing packages. Otherwise what will happen is the newer users will get Office XP and the existing users will still continue to use Office 2000. So those were the steps. Click on the OK button, apply, and then OK, and then you were done. So once again, the only difference being that you right click on this, go to properties, go to the upgrade tab, and in the upgrade tab you specify which package will be upgraded, and then you had a choice of whether to install the application before after uninstalling the existing application, or to do an in-place upgrade. We chose the in-place upgrade, and then over here you must click on the checkbox required upgrade for existing packages, and then click on the OK button, and we are done. We have done the following so far. We have created a new group policy object, and we have also told that group policy to actually perform an in-place upgrade over Office 2000. Now the last thing I'm going to do is, this is just to make matters easy, and I would highly recommend you do that so that there are no issues in your domain administration. I'm going to select this particular package and click on the up arrow, meaning that apply this and then apply this. This is going to be the newest policy. You're better off applying this first before and then apply this, because this will perform the upgrade for you automatically. Again, if you keep it down, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you'll notice that by the time the policy is applied, it takes a few minutes for it to be in effect. So I'm going to click on the apply button, click on OK, and then I'm done with creating my group policy object. Now what we need to do is refresh a group policy, and in order to do that, we need to go to the command prompt, and then type our command. Let's see if you remember this command, secedit. The switch is refresh policy, and then you need to say refresh the computer policy for me. I'm sorry, the user policy for me, and then hit enter. It's going to say that it's going to do it in a few minutes, so it should be done very shortly. Now it's time to actually perform the testing. So I'm going to minimize my screen over here, and now we're going to make the connection to client 1 and log in as JSmith and observe if the application Office 2000 gets upgraded by Office XP. So let's try that out. I'm going to double click to make the client connection, and let's attempt to log on as JSmith. Okay, and click on the OK button. Let's observe what happens. Applying your personal settings, applying software installation settings. This is good news. Anytime you see this, that means that it found something new and it's going to perform some activity to refresh that policy. Let's see if it worked. Okay, my desktop is being built up. Let's click on start. Okay, programs, and let's attempt to use Word. So I'm going to click on Word and let's see what happens. Okay, I still got the older package. Let's close out. Okay, the policy is still not in effect at this point. Let's try one more time. Just want to make sure it didn't put a different link somewhere else. No, it did. Okay, so let's try one more time. Microsoft Word once again. It is still giving me the older application. This is because the policy has not been in effect, and in a way it's good this happened so that now I can show you how to actually control this better. What I'm going to do is shut down the computer and make it restart. So I'm going to say disconnect over here, and then what we will do is I'm going to manually restart this computer and see what happens once the computer restarts and goes to client 1. So I'm going to pause the video over here a little bit. I'm going to shut down client 1 and then restart client 1. Client 1 just restarted, so I'm going to attempt to log in as JSmith on client 1 one more time. And here we go, JSmith. Password is password with the number 1 at the end. Click on the OK button. Applying software installation settings, so that is some good news because, and it's taking a little bit longer. So sometimes when it takes a little bit longer, it's good news because it's doing something that it did not do before. And let's hope it did exactly what we wanted it to do. So once in a while, the group policy will take a little longer to be in effect. That is to be expected. And also shutting down and restarting the computer sometimes helps. The other thing you have to be aware of also is the fact that, well, I think I'm getting good news already. It says new programs installed. But to continue with my point, the other thing that I want you to be aware of also is the fact that I'm trying to access all these applications remotely through via remote desktop. And even though I may log off sometimes to my local from the screen that you're looking at, the user sometimes gets logged on locally on that particular computer. So and I noticed that last time in Jill Smith's case, even though I logged off over here when we said disconnect, when I actually went to the physical screen on which client 1 is running, I saw that Jill Smith was logged on. So I shut down the computer. Those of you who are familiar with Windows 2000 know that the new settings are in effect only when the user logs on and logs off and then logs on again. So that may not have happened in the last step, but this is something that happens usually. And you may have heard your administrators or other administrators keep telling clients from time to time, saying that, you know what, just shut down a computer, restart, give it a few minutes and try it again before we start troubleshooting. And that's exactly what we had to do in our case. So let's click on Word now. And there we go. It's trying to upgrade Office 2000 with Office XP. So this is going to take a few minutes, and once it is done, Office 2000 will no longer be on this computer. It will be replaced by Office XP. So what I'm going through is the life cycle of the application. In the last video, you learned how to install a newer application. Here we go. It's removing the older version of this application. And in this video, I'm showing you how to manage the life cycle by going one step up, where you are performing an in-place upgrade of a newer application in place of the old application. And this was, as I said, one of the biggest selling points of Active Directory. Now you have a systematic way of managing clients on your network, including applications, where you install the application and then you use the IntelliMirror technology to manage those applications. When a newer version comes out, you upgrade. When you do not want the application, you will actually uninstall the application, which will be the next task in this particular video. So as soon as this finishes, we will go through what has happened so far, and then run a scenario where we no longer need Office in our networks. And this should finalize our upgrade. So now we are using, let's check it out, we are using Word 2002, namely XP. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's close Microsoft Word and let's log off as J Smith. Okay, I'm going to physically check on the other machine, also log off and restart the computer if needed, so that we do not see the screen where a user, the applications are available or unavailable simply because of a logon issue. In any case, in an actual network environment, that will not happen as much because your users log on and log off through the computers on a regular basis. So here we go then. For upgrade, we did the SDP. Then we created the OU structure in the users, which was there from before. We created a new group policy to actually deploy Office XP this time, and then we instructed it to actually perform an upgrade over Office 2000. And last but not the least, we went on to a client computer and then logged on and saw whether noticed that that particular client got Office 2000. Now, before we continue with this, let's perform one more step. Remember in the last video, I had shown you that if I were to log in as, let me close this group policy box over here. Okay, if I log in as a user in North Carolina, and I believe we had logged in as Peter Ramirez, you were not able to get the application Office 2000, or now in this case, Office XP. Well, let's change that. Let's say that now users in the North Carolina OU also require the applications from you. So like I said before, you can simply manage the application by linking the Office XP GPO to this one. So let's do that. What I'm going to do is select this, right click, and go to the properties. So what I'm trying to do is create a GPO, or rather in this case, link an existing GPO to this North Carolina OU. Alright, so I'm in the North Carolina properties. I'll go to the group policy tab. The difference being this time, instead of clicking on new and creating a new object, I will not do that. I'm going to delete it, and let's remove this permanently. What I will do instead is use an existing policy and simply link it to this OU. That's the point I was trying to make in the very first video, and now you get to see it in action with an example. So to find my existing GPOs, I need to click on the add button, click on all, and now I'm going to give it the Office XP policy. Click on OK. What I've done is I have linked Office XP to North Carolina. Click on apply. OK. Now users in North Carolina, when they log in, they should be able to get Office XP as well. So let's try that out. I'm going to close this console, and let's update a policy. These commands are not case sensitive, so I'm typing it in all upper cases. It should not matter. Okay, it asks us to give us a few minutes, but if you don't wait, let's go ahead and try it. So, client 1. This time we log in as J Ramirez. Okay, let's try. Oops, see if we can fix the password for this user J Ramirez. I'm back on DC1, and as you saw, I had a login issue, so let's fix that. Oh, no wonder, it's Peter Ramirez. I'm sorry about that. So let's minimize this. One thing you may have noticed that Microsoft Technologies don't give you a clue. They simply say that, well, the username and password did not match. It doesn't try to match it for you or give you clues as to what could be wrong. Okay, I'm in. Okay, should take a few minutes to build up the desktop. And now we'll click on the start button and then go to all programs, and there we go. Peter Ramirez did not have the applications before, now he does. If I click on the Microsoft Word button, which I will not do so because otherwise I'll have to install the entire application, this person will get the application Microsoft Word. Okay, so you have seen that now that you have the GPOs created, Most of the task is done. All you have to do is link the GPOs to the appropriate OUs. The users in those OUs will get the settings of that GPO, and you're all set. This is the perfect way of managing a domain for a large number of users and computers. Simply create your group policy objects and then start linking them to the right OUs. Managing the links are very important. And as long as your GPOs are linked to the correct OUs, you should be okay. Users should be able to log on. If there are issues with users not getting certain applications, you saw there are different ways of troubleshooting it. Make sure that the user belongs to the right OU, and that particular OU is assigned the right group policy object so that the person can get those settings. Last but not the least, make sure that the DNS setting is okay. Shut down and restart the client computer and see if you're able to follow through on that as well. In Server 2003, once again, there is a new tool called Group Policy Management Console. One of the advantages of the Group Policy Management Console is that it lets you troubleshoot. It goes through the whole scenario between the client and the server and the group policy objects. And if certain things are not working for whatever reasons, for permission restrictions, or because the user does not actually belong to a certain OU, it will give you clues that this is what could be wrong for this particular user. In fact, what it does is it gives you an HTML type of report that shows you exactly what different GPOs are applied to which user, which of those GPOs have been successful, and if the GPOs have been unsuccessful, it gives you certain clues as to why that would be the case. Unfortunately, in Windows 2000, because this was a newer technology in Windows 2000, Microsoft did not give us extensive tools, but there is a tremendous improvement in the managing of group policy objects in Server 2003. So going back to our lecture notes over here, what we have done is we have successfully upgraded Office 2000 with Office XP using group policy object. The next thing to do now is, I'm actually on the wrong screen over here. The next thing to do now is to actually uninstall Office XP using a group policy object. The last phase of the life cycle of the application is to uninstall the application. So now we're going to play the scenario where this application is no longer needed in our domain, and we would like to uninstall this application from there. So here are the steps to do that. What we need to do is go back to our group policy objects, and then over there, what I'm going to do is the following now. I'm going to go to the California OU first, and then right click, go to properties, go to the group policy tab over here, and now we'll do the following. Remember, we had Office 2000 first, and now over a period of time, all the computers have upgraded to Office XP. If the computer did not have Office 2000, they still get Office XP because that's a new GPU and it is sitting on top. So now, over a period of time, what will happen is that once all the computers have been installed with Office XP or upgraded to Office XP, you should go ahead and remove this GPU. So we'll do that. So we are at a point where all the clients in our computers have Office XP. I'm going to delete the Office 2000 policy over here, and I'm going to say remove it totally and delete the group policy link object also. So I have completely eliminated Office 2000 policy from my domain. So now I have the Office XP policy. So a few years down the line, you no longer need Office XP. We would like to uninstall this application using a group policy object. Here are the steps for doing that. What you need to do is click on the edit button because you are making a modification to that policy, and then go to user configuration, software installation, and actually find the policy out there. So once I find the policy, what I'm going to do is right click on it and then go to all tasks and then say remove. Okay, this is important, folks. I'm going to repeat these steps one more time. I'm going to close this box. Here's why I'm trying to repeat this. If you want to actually uninstall this application, do not select it and click on delete and then delete this object. Doing that will not uninstall the application from each client computer. Doing that simply says that Office XP is no longer a policy in the domain. If a new user were to log on and that particular computer does not have Office XP, it will not get Office XP because there is no such policy. So there is a difference. If you simply delete it, nothing happens on the existing computers. If you would like to uninstall it, what you need to do is modify the policy itself, not delete it. So you select it, click on edit, software installation, and then select this policy, right click, and then over here under all tasks, you're going to say remove. And here are our options. Immediately uninstall the software from users and computers, or allow users to continue to use the software but prevent new installation. Look how much control a group policy object gives you, you have two choices. You can forcibly uninstall the application from the users right now. And that's the first option, and we're going to go with that because that's the one that will give me the most effect on the screen. Or what you can say is that, well, if somebody has Office XP, we have already purchased the licenses for it, let those people continue to use Office XP. The new users should not get this application. If that's what you want to do, you will select on this and then click on OK. In our case, we would like to immediately uninstall the software, so we're going to click on the OK button over here. And this thing disappears. But in the policy, it has made a notation that even though this is the Office XP policy, it should no longer be in effect for newer users. And for existing users, it should actually uninstall the application from their desktop. So click on close. And let's close this. Once again, we'll refresh our policy. If you're going to use this command again and again, in the beginning, I would recommend that you keep typing this several times until you have mastered it. And then later on, what you can also do is create a batch file and keep it in the desktop. And in the batch file, just put two different commands. One would be refresh policy, user underscore policy, and the other one should be refresh policy, machine underscore policy. That would be the command. This command got mixed up over here, but this would be the command to refresh the computer configuration of the policy. Remember, there were two portions, user configuration and computer configuration. So what you can also do is create a batch file and then write those two commands in a batch file, keep it on the desktop. So every time you would like to refresh the policy, you simply go to your desktop on your domain controller and simply double click on it. And I'm going to do that next in one of the videos so that we don't have to type this command again and again. I've typed it several times just so that to let you know what these commands are and when you should type it so that group policies are refreshed in your domain. So let's try it out now. Minimize TC1. I'm back on my recording station. Let's attempt to connect to client 1. Okay, the client 1 has rebooted and I'm going to log in as J Smith. Let's see if we have better luck this time. Alrighty, let's read the screens here. Loading your personal settings. Quite frankly, it went too quickly for me. Normally, I would expect to find something out there that says that your managed applications are being removed, and it did not show me that. So I guess we'll have to wait a little bit longer for this to be in effect. But let's find out. Yeah, I still have these applications over here. So we are not successful in that. It requires some more time. So I'm going to what I'm going to do is give it some more time. I'm going to disconnect from here. And we will connect one more time from the client computer. This time I'll log in as the administrator. Enter the password. See, that's the problem that I was referring to. JSmith is still logged on because I'm using the remote session. It's trying to remotely log out this user. So sometimes what happens is that you're unable to get the policy on my screen simply because the user happens to be logged on the physical screen itself. Okay, what I'm going to do is, actually, since I'm here, let me show you one more thing. Remember, I logged into this computer as the administrator of the network. That does not mean I should get the application. And I'll tell you why exactly in a moment. So if I go to all programs, look at this. I don't have Office XP. I'm going to let you think a little bit on this, and then I'm going to answer the question very soon in this video. But tell me why, even though I'm the administrator and I logged in successfully to client 1 to the benandbrady.com network, I did not get Office XP. After all, I'm the administrator. So just a food for thought. What I'm going to do is log off over here and then physically shut down and restart client 1. So let this disconnect, and in the meantime you can ponder over why this happened. So I'm going to take a little pause over here in the video. I'm going to give it time for client 1 to restart and for you to be able to think about why the administrator of the benandbrady.com did not get the Office application on the client computer. Okay, I'm back, and I know the pause for you is not as long as it was for me over here, because this video is just pauses out there. Time does not stand still for you like it did for me, and I expect an answer from you. But let's think this out aloud. Why did the administrator not get the Office application? And the answer lies right over here under our group policy figure over here. If you have a policy like we had the Office XP policy, who did the Office XP policy apply to? To the California OU. To be more precise, it applied to all the users under the California container. Alrighty, so any person who's under the California container will get the effects of that policy. Now let's see what happens in our domain. In our domain, going back to DC1 over here, I'm going to start the admin tools one more time to get on the Active Directory users and computers. And over here, the administrator's user account is in a container administrator. Okay, and note I use the word container for this versus OUs for this, and you'll see in a moment why I'm using those terms. This is a container because it was created by the system to create all the default users and groups. In fact, some of the default groups are in the built-in container also for backward compatibility with Windows NT, and in fact these cannot be moved. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. In general, you can go to any user. Here, let's try that. Bob Hayes, right click, click on move over here and move this user to some other container or OU. However, if you go to the built-in over here and if I right click, there is nothing to move. Okay, so just thought that would be interesting to you. The built-in container is for backward compatibility with Windows NT, and these groups, if you have done Windows NT, you may be familiar with these groups, the print operator group, the backup operators group, and so forth. It is there for backward compatibility so that the NT domain controllers can actually see it right off the built-in. Going back over here, our user's account was created under the the user administrator's account was created under the user's container over here. All right, and the group policy is not applied over here. The group policy is applied to the California OU over here, and this user is not under the California OU. So what if this person is the administrator? This user object is not under the influence of that group policy object simply because it is in a different location. In fact, if I were to right click on the users container and go to properties, you will notice the absence of the group policy tab itself. I cannot actually create a group policy for the users container over here simply because it is not an OU, it is a container. It is not appropriate to create group policy objects for all the default objects that is created by Microsoft. Otherwise, there might be a mess. You may create a policy that is restrictive, and in fact, you're restricting the administrators from doing the task. So, in order to get a policy, you must be in the right organizational unit. So this, hopefully this also clarified the point as to why it is important that the user be in the right OU before you start troubleshooting as to why this person did not get the application installed on their desktops. Let's double click on client 1 this time and try to make the connection one more time. I'm going to log in as J. Smith. Oops, I'm not clicked over there. Type in the password here and let's hope for the best this time. There we go, loading your personal settings, applying your personal settings. There we go. That's a line I wanted you to see. Removing managed software, Microsoft Office XP Professional with front page. Okay, so a reboot was necessary, and now you know exactly why administrator says, oh, just reboot the computer, it will work fine. Because sometimes things are in effect only after a reboot has taken place. You're just pushing the policy faster that way, because every time the computer comes up, it reboots, it tries to obtain the latest policies from the domain, and that helps matters a little bit. So we have gone through the life cycle of the application. I'll let this finish in a moment. And what we did was we installed an application, we upgraded it, and finally I showed you how to uninstall or remove the application, all using group policy objects. So now you don't have to go from desktop to desktop troubleshooting computers. Let's go over here and let's see if it actually did what it said it's supposed to do. Here we go. Office is gone. Okay, I'm logged in as Jill Smith here, and the application Office is gone. So you have also successfully uninstalled Office XP using group policy objects. So that should conclude our video on this topic. In this video, I showed you how to upgrade your existing Office 2000 to Office XP, and then we uninstalled Office XP using group policy objects. I thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you very soon in a different video on Active Directory.